You are. So now that we got that established, let's talk about things. So, imposter syndrome. I'm not gonna go on a long mental healing journey with you on this. I'm just gonna drop some bombs or whatever you want to call them and see if you can find your own path out of it. Because everyone, especially in tech, but pretty much everywhere where you need to learn stuff, suffers from it. So the problem is, and why you feel like an imposter, is because you are not totally sure what you're doing. And to tell you the truth, I've been working on this job for more than 10 years, and this particular position, this is my 4th year, and I still don't feel like I'm the guy who should be doing it. Why? Because there's probably better ones out there, but I could also call myself an expert what I'm doing. But there's always, I learn everything every day. There's not a day goes by that I don't learn something, and which compounds and compounds and compounds. So don't get discouraged if you get the imposter syndrome, and instead make it your superpower. Embrace it, turn it into a tool. And now let's get down to that rabbit hole. Next up, I'm gonna give you 8 tools to our toolbox to turn imposter syndrome into a superpower, and especially the 8th one is something you really should consider as an offer. And hey, it's time to get busy and dig deep. Number 1, identify the skill gaps. You're gonna feel the imposter syndrome because there is something that you think you don't know, and the problem is that you actually don't know what you don't know, but the ones that are bugging you are the ones that you should just prioritize and then kind of work harder on those things, because that's gonna be the way for your salvation. The real issue is that there's never going to be a tech that you can say that you know fully. I have been writing code since 1985, on and off, and I can say it never just stops. It keeps evolving, it keeps evolving, it keeps evolving. Of course, there's deprecated tech that you could actually learn that nobody updates anymore, but that's usually the useless ones. So when you're doing useful tech and learning those skills, it's always going to be there. So identify those gaps and work on them. Tool number 2, identify and follow the development in your tech stack and its ecosystem. Follow the YouTubers, follow articles, follow the documentation, follow the news around those techs that you're learning, and you should be kind of one step ahead, because if you learn that this and that tech that you are concentrating on is getting an update soon, there's probably going to be content, written blogs and code snippets around videos and whatnot for free. Don't buy tutorials, because you can check my tutorial hell video for that, but only in the moment of weakness you can buy a tutorial. But other than that, stick with what the documentation provides you with the new updates and whatnot, and follow the news, follow social media, follow people who are in the ecosystem, and learn from them and keep yourself updated. Tool number 3, Set down realistic and incremental goals. Don't set yourself goals, especially if you're a learner, that I'm gonna learn JavaScript. No, you're not. It's just not gonna happen. And for the love of God, do not use those progression bars on your resume. Like, I know JavaScript for 75%. No, you don't. Probably 20. So just cut down the big goals into smaller incremental tasks, and once you beat those tasks, celebrate your small victories. Post about them, and share what you've learned. Maybe teach someone else what you've learned, because there's always learners behind you. And if you're in a job environment learning a new updated thing on the tech stack you're working with, teach your colleagues, because evidently you're probably going to be refactoring your code base. Tool number 4. Seek constructive criticism. Go to your seniors, go to someone who knows, who is further ahead in their learning journey on the same tech. Those people that you probably already seeked and looked for on the prior tools that I discussed about, and talk to them. Ask them about your code, and also you can now start looking back at your older code and older learning path. If it's not code, if it's something else like cybersecurity or whatever, you can go back to the stuff that you have been learning before and see if you can actually make something better already now that you have learned more stuff, and use that criticism and ability to look your own learning path with a grain of salt, and see if you can make it better. And that's how you plug those skill gaps that we already talked about. Tool number 5. So document and reflect. Kind of like the 4 already discussed about, but instead of going to the actual code base or whatever skill set you're learning, going back to that and asking for criticism, instead document everything. Document what you've learned. Document those little wins that you already set for yourself from the task of the big goals, and document those. Write about them, what you've learned, and then occasionally, like say if you're doing a rigorous learning path, maybe every Friday or Sunday, view back on what you've learned. Now that reinforces what you have learned, and what your documentation should like. If you've forgotten something, it's in the documentation. So document. And so you can return, reflect, and reinforce your skills and find those skill gaps. If you document them well, you are going to have like a documentation for yourself to go back to, and it's written by you, so you should understand it. So yeah, comment your code, document, and reflect. Tool number 6. Reframe imposter syndrome. Now that we have been identifying it, now that we know the reasons, we know what's causing it, we have already given you tools to combat it. Now it's the mental game side of things. When you turn all of this by reframing it as a challenge or a proof of work, actually. So rather than be worried about being an imposter, be worried if you don't feel like an imposter, because most likely you are. Because you're an imposter if you don't know what you don't know, and if you don't know what you should know, and whatever. So we all feel like that. You're not special. We're all imposters. So instead of being annoyed about it, enjoy it, embrace it. That means that you are outside of your comfort zone, you're doing something new, you're learning something, and that is what creates the imposter syndrome feeling. So if you don't have it, you're probably stagnant, you're not going anywhere, and you're just plugging away, you're barring things with nothing achieving, with achieving nothing. Whatever. But yeah, you know the drill. So embrace the feeling instead of be afraid. Be afraid if it doesn't come. Tool number 7. This is probably the 7th take on this tool because there's been hassle all over the place each time I clicked record. So anyways, let's get down to it. Be self-compassionate. Like, you have to understand that you cannot be the best version of yourself all day, every day. So we all have off days, you included, and especially you if you're learning, because it's tough. It's tough, and that's why it's a journey. Turn it into a journey and growth journey, and whatever highly motivational thing you can talk to yourself into, and just push through, and have a healthy combination of self-criticism and self-encouragement. Don't dish out participation medals to yourself if you just learned a little thing. Wait until you hit that task and hit that goalpost, and then move along. Then give yourself that participation medal. And if you're really like the old guard, don't just wait until the very end and just celebrate the little wins without the participation medals. Hey, we're almost there. Tool number 8. Like and subscribe if you already made it here. If you skipped and cheated, shame on you. Go back, watch the entire thing, and when you come back here, like and subscribe. And please leave a comment if you cheated or not. And after that, you should be joining a community. I have a link down below to my link tree type of thing, where you can find all the needed links for all kinds of different communities where I am, and especially the Discord server, Tech Commute Discord server. It's a great community of people who are learning to get into tech. You can find accountability partners. You can find people who are willing to help. You're probably gonna find people who you can help, because teaching is one of the best ways to learn. Like I've already mentioned on my other videos. Go and check them out if you haven't. And you can find me there. I might be able to help you there. And who knows? Get to know people. Network. There's going to be a video about that. And yeah, that's it. That's how you get and turn imposter syndrome into a tool. And into something that you really want to seek out. Because if you don't get there, if you don't get an imposter syndrome, you're not learning, which means you're not winning, which means you're not going to get into tech. So find that imposter syndrome in you and get into tech.